Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. My name is Lonnie. I used to be a Cinema 77 horror cult film lover, and I'm going to take just 1 second of your time for some shameless self promotion. I The channel is still up, Cinema 77 horror cult film lover. That channel is still up. The videos are still up, but I'd like to change my channel over to a new one, which is more pretty much strictly horror themed, and I want to work on that more. So my new channel is Horror Heaven. It's just capital H horror and then space capital H heaven and 77 one word. And so yeah, if you would take a look. If you like the video or you like the channel, you like the videos on there, please like and subscribe. And yeah. So anyway, sorry to take your time, but just a tiny little bit of shameless self promotion. Anyway, welcome to Body Bags. And this week we're doing a theme week, which is why I invited my friend here, Chucky. We're doing the Child's Play franchise, and I get to do the Curse of Chucky, which I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm fine with. I actually like the Curse of Chucky. I know a lot of people don't, but anyway, go into the kind of go into the history of it a little bit. Okay, so Don Mancini, he did Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, and what ended up happening was, a lot of the fans were coming out and admitting they were not happy with the direction that the series was taking. You know, they were more upset because particularly Seed of Chucky, which I actually like that movie. That's a really good movie. They were particularly upset because Seed of Chucky went too far away from the horror element and ended up being much more of a comedy, and people didn't like that. They didn't like the direction he was taking, and I don't know why, but a lot of people didn't like the character of Glenn or Glenda either. So a lot of people just didn't go for it. And so what did Don Mancini do in the time between Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky? He decided, okay, you know what? A lot of the fans came out, they voiced their opinions. I'm going to, they said they want Chucky to be scary again. They want Chucky to go back to the way he was. They want Chucky to be Chucky. So he's like, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay, this next movie is going to be a sequel, but it's going to be kind of a reboot of sorts. And we're going to try to get Chucky back to the way the audiences want him. He's not going to be making a lot of jokes. There's going to be very little to no humor. Um, Chucky's going to be serious. He's going to be evil again. He's going to be dangerous. And that's what they tried to do with this story. And I have to admit, though, I'm sorry, just a real tiny little gripe that I have about it. It's just, it bugs me when I've seen, even on YouTube, I've seen movie reviewers who, they review the Child's Play movies and they say, I'm so mad because in Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky that Don Mancini, turned them more into comedies and less into horror and stuff. And I want Chucky to be, I want him to be scary again. I want him to be dangerous. I want him to be evil and stuff. And so Don Mancini did what a lot of filmmakers don't do, which is he listened to the fans and he tried to get, he tried to do what the fans wanted. He tried to take it back and make it the way it was and make Chucky the way the audiences loved him, and people still hated it. So it's just kind of like, it just, to me personally, it's like, well, just Don, go ahead and do what you're going to do because it seems like you're not going to win either way. That's just my opinion. But anyway, so the story, like I said, it's a sequel, but it is something of a reboot at the same time because now we have this new storyline. Kind of like something similar to like in Friday the 13th. You remember how like like Jason would, there was the Tommy Jarvis storyline and then it moved off into other things. Then it was Jason, one minute Jason's going to hell, one minute Jason's going into space, going to Manhattan, or as most people would say, Jason takes a pleasure cruise mostly. But anyway, our story opens. We have this, young lady in a wheelchair. Her name is Mika, who is actually played by Fiona Dourif, who is actually the daughter of Brad Dourif. And we all know, we're horror fans, we all know Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. And, I hope people will forgive me for saying this. I'm not trying to be nasty or crude, but Fiona Dourif is gorgeous. Oh my God, that woman is beautiful. She is so gorgeous, so lovely. My Lord. And I got to admit, too, she's not a bad actress either. So anyway, so we're introduced to Mika and her mother. And they're living in this big kind of almost gothic looking house, which I'll get to that in a minute, but um, they're living in this big gothic house, and then kind of living a not particularly happy existence. They're just kind of existing. They're not really, neither one of them are really living life. They're just kind of both existing. Mika is toying with the idea that maybe she would go to school and take classes and things and kind of try to do things to better her situation. Well, anyway, so they're sitting around one day, and all of a sudden they get a delivery from a UPS driver. And it turns out that the delivery is a box, and in the box is a doll. And guess which doll it is? But the only thing is, though, it's like, yeah, at first they had like a different face for Chucky, which I'm not going to give it away, but at first I was like, I didn't like the design of the new Chucky. There was something off about it, but you watch the movie, you'll understand. There's a reason for that. But anyway, going back to it, so Mika, and her mother, they get the doll. It's Chucky. It's the good guy doll. But he's been fixed up, brand new coveralls, brand new everything. So he got a makeover. And so the very next day, or actually later that night, Mika wakes up and, like I said, she's confined to a wheelchair. She rolls out and she sees that her mother's been dead. Or she's been dead. She is dead. She's been stabbed with a pair of scissors. And there's no explanation for it. Chucky is just sitting there. And ultimately her death is ruled a suicide. So Mika's family enters, which basically is, it's kind of like, okay, let's introduce the cast of victims, pretty much. We have Mika's sister, who pretty much her whole thing is she's kind of borderline, well, not borderline, she is nasty. She wants to pretty much go ahead and sell off the whole family home and everything else. She wants to take the money and run, kind of a thing. Her husband, who, he's the guy basically just, when, they say some people sleep through a performance in a movie. This guy literally sleeps most of the movie. It seems like mostly all this guy ever does is sleep. But so anyway, yeah, he's there. They have they have a nanny that they hired to take care of their daughter, and plus they got the little girl. And so anyway, so they go to visit, and her sister is trying to get her to agree to be put into a home so that she could be taken care of and stuff like that. She doesn't like the idea of her sister staying in this house all by herself, but she's like, this is home. I want to stay here. Um, and, but in the meanwhile, a priest comes along. And now the whole thing about the priest, obviously we're trying to amp up that, we're trying to signify here in this movie that Chucky is evil. We're trying to show, no, Chucky's evil again. He's a bad dude. And how do we do that? Well, let's have Chucky kill a priest, but then again, too, I don't know. I think a lot of people will probably be like, it seems to me more like Chucky did everybody a public service, especially, priests and, all this stuff about priests and little boys and stuff. So I don't know. It depends. But anyway, so Chucky kills the priest. And, of course, it starts off like a Child's Play movie. We're kind of going back to the formula. Okay. The little girl, she finds the Chucky doll, and at first she's really infatuated with it. And her mother is like, no, you have enough toys. You don't need any more, blah, blah, blah. And the nanny is just kind of whatever, she's this hot, gorgeous blonde, just, strolling around, kind of just being there. Mika is like, yeah, it's okay if she plays with the doll. It's not a big deal and stuff. And so as the movie progresses, they're talking about like, that we've come to find out that actually Mika's sister and her husband, they're out of money. They really, that's the thing. They're kind of used to this lavish, extravagant lifestyle, and they want to sell the house, get the money, everything else. And then, put Mika in a home. That way they don't have to deal with her and so on. But Mika wants to stay, so they're kind of fighting about it. Now, meanwhile, the little girl, she discovers the Chucky doll, and similar to like Andy in the first couple of movies, she starts talking about like, oh, yeah, Chucky said this, and Chucky said that. Chucky says, life's a bitch, and then you die, and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, she's talking about, Chucky did this, and nobody believes her because Chucky's just a doll. But, Mika starts to wise on to Chucky, and she realizes there's something really off about this. what is Chucky? Who is Chucky? How did she end up getting this? How did she end up getting this doll? Just happens to coincide with the death of her mother and everything else. And so she starts investigating, and she's got her laptop. She's looking up stuff, and like one of my favorite parts of the movie, I admit, is when the little girl, there's a thunderstorm outside, and that's one thing I got to admit. Okay, this movie definitely has a great gothic atmosphere to it. You got the thunderstorms, and it's a dark and stormy night. I love that. And the house definitely, like I said, has a very gothic feeling. It's a big kind of deserted mansion almost, and it's got this kind of old fashioned elevator that you go up and down in. So obviously, and I think also too with Curse of Chucky, I think obviously Don Mancini was really trying to do a movie that was a throwback to old classic horror films. Something like The Curse of Frankenstein, something in the vein of Hammer or Universal horror. And you could tell by the lighting and the set design and the cinematography of the film. You could tell that he's trying to go for something more of an old fashioned horror film, and maybe something in the vein of Italian horror films as well. But one of my favorite parts though is when it's raining outside, and the little girl, she's hiding under the sheet. She's got Chucky, and she's Chucky, I'm scared, and all this. That's when Chucky first comes to life, and you can't wait. I mean, you just can't wait to hear Brad's voice, to hear Chucky's voice again. You can't wait. So it's almost a moment where, on the one hand, you're kind of scared, but at the same time, you kind of cheer because you get to hear his voice again, and she's Chucky, I'm scared. And he's like, ha ha ha, you fucking should be, And then we realize, yeah, that Chucky is alive and stuff, and so Chucky's Chucky. He's back, and so he's alive, and he's going, and then pretty much the rest of the movie, I'm going to try not to give too much away. But, so Chucky starts taking out the victims list one by one. Everybody gets done in Chucky style. And Chucky does have a couple of little one-liners, not too many, but they really do try to tone down on the humor a lot. And, and then by then, finally, Mika discovers the secret that Chucky is alive and that Chucky is Charles Lee Ray. We, the audience, already know this, but Mika makes the discovery. And, we get one thing in this movie that's one of the reasons why this movie holds a soft spot in my heart. Okay. We get one thing in this movie that we haven't gotten since the first 5 minutes of the original film, which is we get to see Brad Dourif in the movie again. Brad Dourif physically appears in the movie again. Now, I know for some people they've been big deals. Like for me, that is a big deal. I like seeing Brad Dourif come back. I like seeing him play Charles Lee Ray. And there's like this small flashback sequence, where we can see him, and it's cool. I mean, it's great to hear his voice, but to actually see him be in a Child's Play movie again, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Because like I said, we haven't seen that since the first movie. And then we realize that, okay, there's basically this whole connection. There's this whole backstory between Chucky and, Mika and her family. And then we come to find out that actually Charles Lee Ray was infatuated with Mika's mother. And he wanted to be with her. He wanted to have a family with her. And so what he ended up doing, he ended up murdering Mika's father. And this was when Mika was still, her mom was still pregnant with her. And so, he tells her that he wants them to be a family, and he wants to be, he wants to be the daddy. He wants her to be the mommy, the kids and stuff. But we find out that Mika's mother actually ratted him out to the police. And this is on the night when he's killed and he puts his soul into Chucky for the first time. But we find out that actually she ratted him out, that she admits she doesn't want anything to do with him. It's like, she's telling you destroyed my family and everything. And so then obviously what happens. He gets shot down and he puts his soul into Chucky, and a legend was born, so. But to me, that was so much fun in and of itself, just to see Brad Dourif in the movie again, to see him, not just hear his voice, but to see him. Anyway, back to it. And then, now we come into, it's pretty much a life or death struggle between, Mika and Chucky. And then, now we have kind of like this new thread storyline that But obviously, it's meant to be something kind of a take like on the Andy Barclay character. It's meant to be a new storyline. It's going to try to be, different and unique, but at the same time, keep it in the formula of the Child's Play series. And so ultimately, I do like it. I do feel pretty much that they try to make Chucky try to be evil again. I mean, for one thing, okay, it's like, even though I'm trying not to give away too much, but we do get a little bit of Tiffany in this movie. But notice we don't hear anything about the kids. We don't hear anything about Glenn. We don't hear anything about Glenda. So it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, unless Mancini's planning to put them into future. Well, we know there's going to be a TV series based off the original series, maybe, but I'm just kind of curious myself. Did Chucky end up murdering his own kids? Because it's like in this movie, we don't hear anything about them. It's like the kids are just kind of gone. You don't hear nothing. Tiffany makes an appearance. We find that out. And even at one point, Chucky's talking about all the families that he's destroyed over the years, and one family that he mentions is the Tillys. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, though, yeah, overall, I really do like The Curse of Chucky. I like that. I'm just overall, like I said, it has a soft spot in my heart. Mainly, I'm just happy by the fact that Mancini really tried to go back to basics. Like I said, it's kind of a reboot, but at the same time, it's also kind of it's a sequel, but it's also kind of a reboot at the same time. So I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. It's late at night. But overall, I'm very happy with it. I enjoy the movie. I enjoy that he tried to get it back to the way maybe he didn't succeed in most audiences' mind, but I do appreciate the fact that he at least tried to get it back to what it was. I appreciate the fact that he's really paying homage to classic horror films, trying to give this movie a very gothic atmosphere, a creepy style, creepy music. So yeah, I mean, for me, I have no problems with Curse of Chucky. I actually like it. Maybe it's not the best in the entire Child's Play franchise, but I'm fine with it. And I like the idea that Chucky now has a new adversary in the form of Mika, played by his daughter Fiona Dourif. So who, like I said, she's gorgeous. But anyway, that's gonna pretty much do it. I could go on, but I don't want to give any more away. I think I've given away too much of the movie already. So that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have 7 reviewers, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. And please check it out. We got great guys doing great stuff. Everybody does, good stuff, unique things. Everybody has, you've heard other reviewers say it. Everybody's got their own flavor, So anyway, yeah, that's it. My name is Lonnie, and thank you for watching. And hopefully you'll enjoy tomorrow's review. Hopefully you enjoyed all the Child's Play reviews, and take care. Good night. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Chucky.